Good morning. Welcome to Wednesday. It's Hobby Evolution, episode 263. Happy Hump Day. Uh, Gonna talk a little bit about a treasure hunt that I went on yesterday. So that is the topic of the day. I did tell Herman that I was going to look up. I forgot to do the math on the eBay store final value fees. So I need to do that because I'm curious myself. Um, so yesterday, just get right into it. So yesterday, I'm a member of a wrestling memorabilia Facebook group, and I was collecting wrestling magazines back over the winter, and that was going to be my hobby away from the hobby. And then I just kind of went full bore into my eBay store and listing, and didn't really have time to enjoy my wrestling magazine collection that I had picked up over the months. So they're in binders, and I have a whole bunch of them, and I'm going to list them for sale on eBay. I actually listed some on eBay last night after I read them. So, however, I was in this wrestling Facebook group, and somebody was selling a bunch of like 60s wrestling magazines. So mine only go back, I think the oldest one I have is like December 1969. I was looking to collect a run of Pro Wrestling Illustrated, and then I went into a rabbit hole because it only goes back to 1979. I'm like, I'd like to have a run of magazines all the way back to like the early 60s or the late 50s. I think that would be cool. And then I just kind of gave up on that project. So this guy was selling, and there it looked like I had counted like 20, and I'd never seen these magazines before. So reached out to him. I said, how many are there? He said there's like 24. Asked him a price. He said $60. I'm like, sold. $60. That's like $2.50 a magazine. So his email address was Triple H fan. So I told him the story of I was in attendance, and I had great seats. I was in like 7th grade. What's up, Herman? Good morning. So I was in attendance for Triple H's WWE debut in 1995. What's up, George? So he debuted as the let's see, Greenwich, Connecticut Blue Blood Aristocrat. What's up, George? What's up? I said George already. What's up, Zach? What's up, Brad? So I was in attendance, Mark of the Quad Cities, Moline, Illinois. It was like April 25th, 1995. And when the music came on, I knew who it was because the WWF had been doing vignettes introducing Hunter Hearst Helmsley. And we had great seats, like 6th row. And the match is on YouTube, and I can pick myself out of the crowd only at the end of the match. Like when the match, and like this, a flood of memories came back because I didn't find this video until a couple years ago. So I had gone 30 years. Wait, has it been 30 years? 2005, 2015. Okay, it's been 25 years. So I'd gone 20 years not seeing this footage. And all of a sudden, I'm like narrowing in. What's up, George? His evening walk and exercise. So I'm zoning in, and I see myself, and I know it was me because I was wearing a UMass basketball jersey, and I wore that like that was like my special, like if I'm going to an event, I'm wearing my Lou Row UMass jersey. So I could pick myself out, and you could see me start running because me and my childhood best friend Luke, we would, after the match, we would sprint down, and we weren't that far, to the aisle where the wrestlers go back to, try to get a high five. So I could see myself at the very end. So I was thinking about that, and I told him about seeing Triple H in his debut, and I'm like, I think I probably still have the ticket stub, and I remember seeing it at some point, and it was just like super faded. You could barely see, and I have it, I think, somewhere in the basement in a box. But I hoard. That's the title of today's show. I'm a hoarder. So I came down and I looked through it because I had an idea of where it might be, because I hoard everything. As you can see, no surprises there. What's up, Matt? Good morning. Um, so I came down and I had like I have like a basket where I've kept all my ticket stubs back. Remember when ticket stubs were actually a thing? I've kept all my like ticket stubs and all my lanyards when I worked in college athletics. I'll have to show those off. I have like a huge collection of University of Michigan, Minnesota, Missouri, South Dakota State, just University of the Pacific in Stockton, California, just a whole bunch of those. And I also had ticket stubs in there. So I wanted to go through and find what ticket stubs I had. So I actually listed this ticket stub on eBay. It's from May 18th, 2002. It's a baseball ticket. So at this point in my career, this was my very first radio job. I don't think it has the radio station. Some of these do. So I worked for this really small town radio station. In fact, it was in Galva, Illinois. The population of Galva is like 2,000 or 3,000. And our radio station was the Hawk 102.5 WHHK. And it was it was inside this like literally like a small, like it looks like one of those like prefab lawn mowing sheds that you put in like your backyard that you buy at Menards or Home Depot. It looked like that, just a big one. So we had, I mean, it was super small. We had like a lobby area, which was where our fax machine was, if you remember those, in the water cooler. And then we had like the main desk. Luann was the traffic coordinator, and by traffic, that's like commercial traffic, not traffic in the there's a John Deere blocking the road outside, not that kind of traffic. And then there was a main office, and then in the back was the news director's office, and then we had a studio, and then another small office. And the small office was like basically the part-time employee / intern room. There was like 3 like super old desks in there, and that was my first office. And then based on everybody like leaving or getting fired, I took over as like a 19-year-old news and sports director. Way over my head, but I got through it. Then I took the main office until the station closed. But anyway, enough about that. Enough of background story. We were a White Sox affiliate. We were a Chicago White Sox affiliate, and we would get season tickets to the White Sox games. Now, Galva, Illinois to Comiskey at that time was 3 hours, 3.5 hour drive. So it's not like we could give away tickets. It's a Friday, and hey, we're going to give White Sox tickets away for tomorrow's game in Chicago, because you had to really plan. I mean, most people can't just like, oh, hey, let's go to the White Sox game tomorrow, 3.5 hours away. You've got to plan, like, it's basically a weekend getaway. Especially like this particular game was a 6:05, so it's definitely going to be a late night if you're driving back. Otherwise, you've got to stay in Chicago. So we didn't give too many of these tickets away, just because people didn't really want to, plan ahead. Like, it's the White Sox. There weren't too many White Sox fans in this area, so not too many people went. So what happened was, I'm going to give this ticket away on say a Monday to give people a little heads up. Like, hey, the White Sox are playing the Angels on Saturday. Be the 5th caller and you'll win. And a lot of times we wouldn't get 5 callers. So a lot of times I would be like, first caller gets the tickets, because we wouldn't have 5. We probably only had 4 listeners, especially on my show. This ticket. So what I would do is, remember, I'm a hoarder. So it's like, I'm not going to throw these full tickets away. I'm going to keep these. And so I didn't keep all of them, but I kept a few. So this particular ticket, unused, May 18th, 2002, Sox versus the Angels. And so this ticket stub was Frank Thomas hit 2 home runs in this game. He hit career home runs, number 356 and 357. So I put this one on eBay, and we'll see if it sells. We don't know. So that's one ticket. That's a rough market when you ain't got any prize hounds. Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, we probably only had 4 listeners. And they were my dad would always listen. I had like a couple super fans because I was going to college. So this was like super rural. So our machine shed studio was like on the edge of Galva ag community. And then the college I was going to was Blackhawk College East Campus, which was like in the country, and it was it's a big time ag school. So I had a couple like friends that were super fans. So more Sox tickets from 2002. So this is the same series. I have like 3 of them. Looks like Jerry Manuel is on these. May 19th, and these are full tickets. May 19th, 2002. What's up, Dan? Nothing specific in these games. Actually, Dan, I think Mark Burley might have started this game because I was looking up the box scores yesterday. May 19th, 2002, Sox and Angels. These 2 games are against the Tigers, April 21st, and I don't think anything really happened in those 2 games or in that game. And then this ticket I'm actually going to keep as part of my collection because it was a Cubs game, and I actually went to this game. This isn't the ticket because obviously it's still full. We had 4 tickets, and I could only round up 2 friends to go. It was on a Sunday afternoon. My friend Scott drove. It was me, Scott, and my friend Adam, who we called Sancho. The only reason we called Adam Sancho was wrong place, wrong time, or right place, right time. We were watching the movie Orgasmo. Great movie. We were watching the movie Orgasmo. There's a character named Sancho. We thought that was funny. And there was a group of, I don't know, 6, 8 of us watching the movie. And my friend Adam was in the room, and he didn't really have a nickname. We called him Dopey because he always looks dopey still to this day. It's kind of his resting B face. He's Dopey. But we started calling him Sancho instead of Dopey. And so he still today is known as Sancho. 4 on the floor and a 5th under the seat. Let's go. So yeah. So Sox in Chicago. I'm gonna have to. I didn't look up the box score. I saw this was the Cubs game I went to. Actually, this was the very first Cubs game I attended in person. I didn't make it to Wrigley. Believe this or not. So I was born in 1982. My first Cubs game at Wrigley Field wasn't until like 2004, I think. And I don't know where the ticket stub is. I think it was against the Reds, and I think Carlos Zambrano was the starter. But this was my very first Cubs game in person. I went to this game, June 30th, 2002, Cubs and White Sox. I'm trying to think. Mark Bellhorn may have hit a home run from each side of the plate. He may have hit a home run left-handed and right-handed in this game. Something, either it was that game or the next game I went to, which was down at Busch Stadium against the Cardinals. For some reason, the only reason what I remember about the Cardinals game was Jason Simontachi was the starter in the game I saw at Busch. But I'm going to have to go back and look at the box score for this game because I think Bellhorn hit a home run as a lefty and a righty against the White Sox on June 30th, 2002. So that one I got to keep because it was my first game. Dan asked, what's the closest you've lived to Chicago? Actually, where I'm at right now in Madison is the closest I've ever lived to Chicago. What's up, Mark? Good morning. I'm 2.5 hours from Wrigley. I can get to the National, where the National's at. I can get there in about 2 hours. Wrigley's about 2.5 hours. Actually, no, Wrigley's not that far. Wrigley's maybe 2:15 for me. We can get, if it's not like rush hour Friday, we can get downtown in 2.5 hours. So yeah, this is the closest. I was born where I grew up. So when I went to this game in 2002, I was still living at home, I think. Yeah, I was still at home in 2002. Mark's 35 minutes from Fenway. That'd be great. I'm the closest like professional. So Miller Park is about 90 minutes because I'm on the far west side of Madison. So I'm 90 minutes from Miller Park in Milwaukee. I am like 55 minutes from Beloit. And so that's where I see the Cubs of tomorrow when the Beloit Snappers play South Bend Cubs. I'm 55 minutes away. So that's the closest I am to a stadium. But when I grew up, I think Anawan it was probably a solid 3 hours to Comiskey, and Wrigley might have been a little longer. I don't think I ever went from Anawan to Wrigley because I never went there as a kid. And then when I moved down, when I was at Western Illinois, that's way down there. I was closer to St. Louis than Chicago. So that's why I wanted to get out of there, because I was so far away. George watched Bowman 51's video. Damn, that many people packed would freak me out. I'll have to check that out. Where was that show at? Which show was that? Mark's 10 minutes from Foxborough. Wow. So more ticket stubs from my hoarding. So same year, and this is cool. Same year, 2002, working at the radio station WRMJ WGEN. So WRMJ is actually still around. It's in Aledo. WHHK, which unfortunately isn't on these tickets, was the Galva station. It's no longer a signal. WGEN is no longer a signal. We were simulcast. So our main studio was in Galva in the little machine shed. WGEN was our AM station in Geneseo. And it was actually we had a really cool, it was a nice studio. It was in the bowling alley. But it was like upstairs. So like the second floor of the bowling alley was like office space. There was like a couple real estate agents that were in there. Maybe I think an insurance agency was in there. And then our studio, which was a nice studio. But we never spent, I may have spent 2 or 3 times in there just doing like local shows to that market. So we had season tickets to the minor league team, was the Quad City River Bandits. And this is the team that I grew up going to games. Actually, they were the Quad City Angels when I first started going, and then they became the River Bandits a couple years later, in the early 90s, early to mid 90s maybe. So in 2002, they were a Minnesota Twins affiliate, and there was a young prospect on the River Bandits in 2002 by the name of Joe Mauer. And actually, he was one of my first baseball interviews. I interviewed Joe Mauer as like a 18 or 19-year-old kid. Heck, I was 18 or 19 years old. I was 20 at this point in time. I was 20. Mauer was probably 18 or 19. So I found these tickets, and I found 3 of them for the April 4th, 2002 game. River Bandits against the Cedar Rapids Colonels. I looked up, and I think Mauer was the only like big name player. I think there was who else? There was a pitcher that went on. I'm sure there were a few future minor leaguers, but so this has significance. This was Joe Mauer's, and these are full tickets, not used. If you thought it was hard giving away White Sox tickets, imagine how hard it was giving away minor league tickets. And more success giving away these River Bandits tickets than we did White Sox. The Quad Cities was like 20 minutes, 30 minutes away. So this was Joe Mauer's second professional game. Well, I take that back. Second full season professional game, because in 2001, after he was drafted, he played for the rookie league in the how do you pronounce it? Appalachian or Appalachian? I was split. Like, I called it the Appalachians, but like a lot of my teachers called it the Appalachians, and I had like friends that called it Appalachians. I always called it Appalachian. The Appalachian League, Appalachian, whatever, both ways. Okay, good. So he played in 2001. I think he played like 20 games in the Appalachian League, and then he came up to the Quad City. So this was game 2 of the 2002 season for the River Bandits. Joe Mauer's second professional, full season professional. So my Jeremy, who's actually in Davenport, where John O'Donnell Stadium is, which now it's called, I think, Modern Woodman Park. They still are the River Bandits. They went through a couple of years where they were called the Swing of the Quad Cities, which was a play on Bix Beiderbecke. They have the Bix 7 road race there. And then they went back. Fortunately, the River Bandits is a much better name. I like it. It's a really cool stadium. They've really built it up. When I was going as a kid, this was from July 15th. Nothing specific happened on that game. When I was going as a kid, it was kind of a real crappy stadium. They really built it up. It's nice. They built a flood wall. There's a lot of pictures that you see the entire stadium is just surrounded by water because it sits right along the Mississippi River. And I think it's the Centennial Bridge that's right next to it. So it makes for some great pictures. They now have a Ferris wheel in like left field. It's a really cool stadium now. Depends on the area of the country for the pronunciation. I used to live in the Smokies and hike the Appalachian Trail often. Also used to go watch the Smokies. Oh, nice. The Tennessee Smokies. So Dan says, have you never wanted to live in Chicago or no opportunity? That's a great question. So I grew up small town, and Chicago was like this foreign land to me as a kid. And I only went to Chicago as a kid maybe 3 times. I remember when I was like 8 or 9 was my first time. We took a bus trip. It was like a shopping trip that my mom and a couple of her friends and their kids, we went shopping at like the $1 Million. It was at Lakeshore Drive. I get everything confused. Where all the shopping stuff is. And then we would go to like the one summer we went to the museum, science and industry. We did the Shed Aquarium like the next summer. I don't know. But I never really wanted to live there. Magnificent Mile. Thank you. Thank you, Zach. I was thinking million dollar miler. That's kind of the nickname they have for it. So I never really wanted to live in Chicago, but then like as I grew up, as I got older, then I did want to move closer to Chicago. I lived in Macomb and I wanted to get the heck out of there because it's so far from everything. And I ended up spending 11 years of my life in Podunk, Macomb. Sorry. But it's like 4 hours from everything. Like the biggest shopping in Macomb is Walmart, and we had a Kmart at the time. And the Quad Cities was an hour and a half away. Peoria was an hour and a half away. Springfield was an hour and a half away. Quincy was an hour and 15 minutes away. St. Louis was 3 hours away. Chicago was like 4 hours away. So it's like there's nothing. They actually have a name for that area called Forgatonia. And it is because it's just in the middle of nowhere. So when I took my job in Madison, like my goal was to get to, like, I wanted to work in Chicago. I had a couple job interviews for companies like in the west suburbs, but I just didn't feel the right fit. I mentioned I had that job interview for a company in Racine. I had the Bloomington Normal. And actually the reason I turned down the Bloomington Normal position was I just didn't see it. It seemed like temporary. I liked Bloomington Normal much more than, where I was at in Macomb, but ultimately I wanted to be closer to a larger city, and specifically Chicago. So it would have only been like temporary, and I just didn't want to waste the time. Fell in love with Madison, and it's actually not that far. A couple hours I can do it. And it's a real quick drive because it's all interstate. What's Quincy like? Quincy is, I don't know. I don't know if I can compare it to, I don't know what like cities you've been to, but it's got like a mall and a Walmart and, it's got a lot of like chain restaurants. It's Quincy. There's nothing special there. But it was a larger city it had more to offer than than what Macomb had. Um, you should have been a Cardinals fan. Well, I grew up closer to Chicago. I grew up only 2.5 hours, 3 hours from Chicago. Um, but when I was in Macomb, I was closer to St. Louis. And actually, in Macomb has a lot of like Chicago transplants because of the university. And it's kind of a 50-50 split between Cardinals fans and Cubs fans in Macomb. And actually, where I grew up in Anawan, even though we were closer to Chicago, um, there were quite a few Cardinals fans. I think there were more Cubs fans in my hometown. We had a couple sprinkling White Sox fans. One of my friends, Kyle, he's a White Sox fan. We go back and forth. I root for the White Sox in the American League, but I always like to give him crap and talk crap on the White Sox. Zach says, yeah, downstate hates Chicago. You are absolutely right. Outside of like the suburbs, everybody hates Chicago. You get an hour out of Chicago and the people most likely hate Chicago. Anywhere that's not within like an hour of the city, they hate Chicago. So a couple last things. These are the wrestling tickets. So I think I've been to 4 like WWF, WCW events, 2 for each. Actually, I think 3. Actually, I have 5 because I didn't bring the other one. So of the 5, what's up, David? David grew up 15 miles from the closest traffic light, so I can somewhat relate. Only 50 miles north of Pittsburgh, though. That's about exactly my like situation as a kid. The closest stoplight was probably 12 miles. We had Kewanee to the south and Geneseo to the west. So that's pretty much. We had in my hometown, we've got like major highways. Like we have 2 major highways and in Interstate 80, which is a major interstate that go through, but no stoplights. So of the 5 wrestling events, there were 2 ticket stubs that I was looking for. The first was what I mentioned at the beginning of the show, the WWF event I went to in 1995, which was my first live event, and it was Triple H's WWF debut. And then I went to the Great American Bash pay-per-view, I think a year later in 96. It was in the Quad Cities. And that was kind of significant because it was like the first the NWO hadn't been, I don't think they created the actual New World Order until the following month in July when Hulk Hogan joined and joined Kevin Nash and Scott Hall as the New World Order at Bash at the Beach. But the previous month was the Great American Bash. And maybe I have my years wrong. Maybe the event I went to was in 97 and they were already a year formed. I always get this mixed up. But I could not find that ticket. And I could not find my WWF debut ticket. I think they're around somewhere. But I did find my second event. Okay, so I went to WWF Attitude Adjustment Tour in 96. So I bet the Bash was in 97. WWF Attitude Adjustment Tour pictures. I had like floor seats. I had really crappy floor seats. I think I was like 15 or 20 rows back. Well, I can tell you, I have the ticket stub. Actually, it says I was in row 8, which makes it even worse because these tickets were really crappy. So I was in row 8, but they were super crappy. So I must have been at 86, 2 days after my birthday. I remember the Ultimate Warrior wrestled because he made his comeback. Gold Dust was wrestling. I think Mankind. So some of those wrestlers were early on in their WWF careers, but not much memorable from that. Went to a Thursday Night Thunder taping in 99. What I remember about this, me and my friend Chuck went to this, and one thing that I remember from this show was we were in row 13. We had pretty good season in this one. we had even though we were in row 13 opposed to row 8 in that, these row 13 than those row 8s, we were on the other side, so there was a little bit more going on. My connection is unstable, so hopefully you're still with me. So I don't remember. I'll have to go. I actually watched this on the network about a year ago, and there wasn't anything memorable. The only thing memorable from me as a spectator at this event was there was a guy sitting in front of us, and he was like yelling the whole time. And one particular thing he yelled out was, "Break his and his fart and dust." I got the little message, "Break his effing kneecap." And so me and my friend Chuck still to this day, how many years later, 20 some years later, laugh about break his effing kneecap. I think it was just, I don't know if anybody else, I just remember it because we always joke about that. What's up, Jeremy? Jeremy, I was just showing off the River Bandits tickets, so you might have to watch the replay. So those were some ticket stubs that I found. I just wanted to talk about that. Zach is doing his first in-person trade. That's awesome. So my first in-person Twitter trade, let's see. I don't remember if it was Shannon or if it was Tim. So Tim, I've talked about Shannon's trades because we've done like 7 of them now. But I think Tim was my first in-person trade. So Tim was, and this was like a month into my project. So this was like January or February of 2018. Tim reached out to me and he's like, "Hey, I've got a bunch of cards." And basically it was like a bunch of junk wax era, like complete sets, partial sets, just, it kind of filled the back of my SUV. And I ended up trading him like a bunch of rookies and just some random stuff. But he lives in Omaha, Nebraska, and it was for March Madness. So I guess it was March of 2018. And he was meeting up with some buddies in Milwaukee. He was driving through Madison. He's like, "Hey, I'm going to be driving right through Madison. We can meet up and I can drop cards off for you." So we met up at a gas station, not far from my office, because I think it was a work day. Not far from my office. I just took off for a half an hour and met up. We talked some cards and had a bunch of cards, sorted out the Cubs, and that was my first Twitter trade. So Zach's is via trading card database, small, but the guy is local. We couldn't justify mailing it. I'm bringing a few extras. He is going to inspect. Very cool. Nice. Good luck with that. Have fun. My plans for this weekend, I have my second COVID shot on Thursday night. So I'm not making any plans for Friday. I do need to get to the card shop. I need some more penny sleeves. My eBay sales have been a little slower over the last week, which is kind of nice because I'm able to get caught up, and I'm doing a pretty good job at getting caught up. I still have almost 3 weeks of Cubs mail that I need to open up. By the way, Brad, I don't know if you watched yesterday. I did receive your Mark Grace cards. Thank you very much. I showed those off on yesterday's show. But I've got like 3 weeks worth of some other. I've opened a couple like Brad's Mark Grace stuff, my eBay cards. I should have a couple more eBay things coming in the mail. I'm excited to show off. So I've got like 3 weeks worth that I need to open up. So today's Wednesday already. So tonight I've got more packages. Hopefully I'm completely caught up on eBay tonight. Brad says eBay changed its algorithm. There's something going on because I'm not getting my my promotion analytics are down, my sales are down, but my sales are also down because I haven't listed, like, my sales were like soaring because I was listing like 500 items a week, where now I'm listing 50 to 100. So, and I'm not listing like 99-cent cards. So I'm listing stuff, it seems like the higher it goes, dollar wise, a little slower, unless it's like a card that's highly pursued, and it's a steal of a price, then they'll go fast. What's up, Boom Slang? Good morning. So yeah, I have definitely noticed some wonky stuff with eBay, which I'm actually okay with because it's allowing me time to catch up, especially with the card show this past weekend. I don't know how I'm going to feel Friday, so I'm not making any plans. My second COVID shot is Thursday night, so Thursday night's out because I have to drive like an hour to get my shot, and then who knows what Friday may bring. So I should be back at it on Saturday. The other local card, so we had two local card shops. The other one I've blogged about. It was lost, basically lost in a flood. He had to close the shop. He still does shows. He still does garage sales out of his house, and he does eBay. So he's having a garage sale this weekend. So I'll probably go up there Saturday just to check it out. I haven't been there since last summer. And pick up some penny sleeves if he's got a good price on those. Jeremy says I'm a bad influence. Bought a Cole Roederer Asia Mojo PSA 10. Nice, I like it. I've picked up. I've been picking up some Coles on the cheap lately. I did get a good deal on that first Chrome Auto. I put an offer in that I thought was going to be countered, but he accepted it right off the bat. Dan got the 5% eBay bucks. Awesome. So I have put those to use. What did I buy? So I did go shopping. So I went shopping the other night, and I have like a white whale. And I shouldn't call it a white whale because it's not like there's been one on eBay, but it's really expensive. So it's not like I can't just, pull the trigger and buy one, but it's also like really expensive. And it's a card that like I never thought I would get, but there's one. I'm not going to name what it is, because eventually I'm going to buy it and then I'll just show it off. But it's by far the most I would ever spend on a card. And I put an offer in and I expected to get countered. And I did get countered, a couple $100 off, but I declined the counter because it's at a price where I'm not going to pay more than what I offered for. So at some point down the road, I will pull the trigger and buy the card. It's just between us girls. But I did go. So yesterday, Jeremy, I'm glad Jeremy's with us because Jeremy, you mentioned Ken Hubs yesterday morning. So I went shopping on eBay for Ken Hubs, like I mentioned, and I didn't really find it's a bunch of like 62 and 63 tops, which I have. I have his tops run, which is only unfortunately because he passed away far too soon, 3 years. So I wanted to look for some of the oddball stuff he has in the early 60s. And there were some like beater postcards from like 63. But I wanted a Jay's Publishing. And I looked up to like $50 and I wasn't going to spend like my target price for a Jay's Publishing Ken Hubs was $20. So I typed in the search for Ken Hubs. There was nothing there. That was in my price point for anything. I mean, I scrolled through a bunch of 62 and 63 tops listings. So I typed in Jay's Publishing, and guess what? There was a lot of Jay's Publishing Cubs cards, like 20 of them for $20. Actually, I think it was 16. And there was a Ken Hubs in there. So my goal was to get one for $20. Now I've got like 16, including the card I wanted, for $20. And the guy, so I went to his store to see what else he had because I like the oddball stuff. I like the quirky stuff. He had some other oddball Cub stuff, and I picked up one other item. So I made that purchase yesterday. So I'll show those off. So it was a lot of Jay's Publishing, and then kind of an oddball item from the Cubs 1970, I think. So that's my eBay shopping. So that I did take advantage of the 5% eBay bucks on that. So thanks, Jeremy, for that tip. So see, Jeremy, you're also a bad influence. I influenced your Cole Roederer purchase. You influenced my Ken Hubs purchase yesterday. So there you go. An eye for an eye, right? So that's all I had for today. Thanks for sticking through it through more wrestling talk earlier. So later today, Zach, keep us updated. I want to hear how that in-person trade is going. Craig, good morning. And Brad, good question, Craig. Brad, are you streaming next? Let us know. Check out Texas Card Dude over on his channel. It's Wednesday. It is Wednesday. Usually I get Tuesdays confused and think they're Wednesdays. But today is Wednesday. So tonight is the About the Cards podcast. So check those guys out. 10 p.m. Central, late for my past my bedtime, but I always watch the replay. It's great stuff to package up cards and watch their show, listen to their show. So they're on tonight. About the Cards podcast starts at 10 Central. So Brad is going next. Mark, I do have I do have that 66 Ellsworth. I think I have a few of them. I just never realized it was Ken Hubbs that was pictured. I know the 63 Don Landrum is actually Ron Santo, but I had no idea that Ken Hubbs was pictured on the Dick Ellsworth card. Tracking is showing his Pudge rookie. Awesome. Carlton Fisk rookie, the original Pudge. So that's what I had for today. Check out MadisonCardShow.com. That's the new website we built for the card show. Have a couple articles. I'm going to do a vendor spotlight. So I'm going to release the first vendor spotlight tonight. So check out who one of the vendors will be at the May show. He was not at the April show, so it's a new vendor. And I'll show off what he's going to be offering. Something a little unique. So check that out, MadisonCardShow.com. My website is 1millioncubs.com. That's all for today. Check out Texas Card Dude on his channel. He's coming up live in just a couple minutes. Have a great Wednesday, and we'll talk tomorrow.